Oh,
Start with
geez, God.
start with a cough. It's always the best way.
Sounded
It was dry. It was really
super
dry.
professional. Super. It
Dry
was
and
really bad.
professional.
I feel like my voice is getting very dry right now.
It's the
Maybe
weather.
that is what it is. Maybe I should eat some lotion, some shit.
Eat some
Um,
lotion.
I should.
Eat some Vicks.
Uh, but before we get into something, I did something kind of unique this week. Not really unique. That's a lie. That's an overstatement. I
Bated
found
breath.
something. I found something that I've been looking for a minute. So I used to have this movie. A friend of mine gave it to me, and then all of a sudden, like it was like a big box case. And the last time I looked at it, I don't even know where it's at anymore. But the last time I looked at it, everything was there but the and no fucking idea where it went to, what happened to it, how it disappeared. None whatsoever. Um, so I've been looking for it, been trying to find it, and it's not streaming anywhere ever because it's an anime movie. It's foreign. And it's not like it's the greatest movie. It's not like it's the best movie ever, but it's a movie called Estafette.
I was waiting to
Super
guess
good
the
to me.
movie.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, you are gonna guess it.
I thought you were
I
gonna
don't know
make
why I
me
didn't give
guess.
you the opportunity to guess it either.
That's what I thought you were doing. What is that? I thought that was an Evanescence
Estafette.
album at first. I thought it said Evanescence. Quick glance.
No. Not at all. No, Estafone is like it's pretty much like a mech movie with
Oh.
people getting to like these big organic machines. There was a series. Actually I think was it on Fox for a little bit? I think it might have been on Fox. But yeah, it was a series, there's a movie. Super for some reason, super hard to find. If you look it up on Google, it says it's in Crunchyroll. You look in Crunchyroll, it doesn't exist. Um which is great. And then anything I could find from it, since it's an old movie,
How old?
is
How
like
old are we talking?
2001. Is that what I'm
2001.
saying now? Which
Is it a
absolutely
live
shit.
action movie or it's an animated movie?
Oh, it's an anime movie.
Okay.
Animated. But everywhere like you find stuff streaming just some places. Yeah, it came out in 2000. It's since it's old, like all the streaming quality is really bad or something like that. Yeah, it's just terrible. So I found it on Amazon and bought it for $11.
Nice.
$11. The Blu-ray for $11, and here's the catch though.
Scaflone. Okay, what?
I don't have a Blu-ray player.
Don't
I don't have a Blu-ray.
you have a PlayStation?
I do. I got a digital one.
Oh,
Just
that's your bad. That's your bad. I poured blood, sweat, and tears into getting this disc.
yeah, I gotta get it this one, but I'm happy to have it because at least I know now. No, I just gotta make sure it doesn't disappear.
This
I don't want to
is
forget.
this is a PSA for owning home media again. Um, I I think that the real lesson here is that it's we need to go back to owning media. It's never going to happen,
Oh, hell yeah.
but we should go back to doing so.
There's so much stuff. I keep constantly hearing about things that are just coming off of like sites and you don't got chances to look at them again
Yep.
or people to take it just because. What is it? The original Full Metal Alchemist that went into that weird shitty world.
Hmm.
That's streaming nowhere right
Really?
now.
It used to be on Netflix for the
And
longest time.
thank God it was, and so was Brotherhood. And again, Brotherhood's the period best, amazing,
Of course.
just greatest. I remember I wanted to get back. I just wanted to watch some of the original shitty parts on the other one, and I couldn't find it anywhere. That's crazy. I was like, away.
This is what happens when you don't own your media. You get to watch them just randomly decide to take it away.
Well, shit, that's what it is. Well, I mean, with that,
Speaking of lost media, I'm tired of being silenced. I'm tired of being robbed of my opportunity to speak on things. This is the second time that I've been censored by big YouTube slash big Riverside slash big audio and digital and video media. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Cora.
Yeah, that is
I
so.
think it's you, actually, Ben. Are you
And
silencing me?
there's there's no reason for me to sign it. I really love the last one. So good. And I could only go about memory of it, but it was so good. The backstory on this is we have tried to, we have done two different episodes talking about the Legend of Korra. One of them is truly, truly just lost. Have no idea where it is. What happened to it? Telling. And then as you noticed the past week, things were missing and
That was my
it
fault.
was that episode we shot. I don't even want to say it's really your fault because the fact that it still showed that you were there. That's the part that really irked me.
It
If
just
you would
looked.
have been like you disappeared, then I would have, and we just kept going, then I'd be like, okay, that's on us. We should have known better. But the fact that, hey, can you still hear me? Yes. Can you still see me? Yes. All
Yeah.
right, cool. It looks like it should be working now. And no, nothing like, hey, this is now just one person. Fucked up the whole entire thing. So that was we tried to record again last time and everything just went wrong on the last episode and we couldn't recover none of the episodes together because of just how it formatted itself, which was very, very rough and very bad.
They don't want me to talk about it.
So,
They're tired of us talking about it.
so,
Well,
so with
too
that being said,
bad.
we're gonna try to talk about it later.
Yeah. Too bad. I won't be silenced any longer.
At all. For at least you only be silenced for maybe a few because before we get into that, why don't we let's what's actually one of the big things that's going on right now? Daredevil dropped a double episode. And again, we missed four. So I guess we could talk a little bit about four and this double episode, even though only one half of this crew watched both episodes, which is fine. We won't say which half.
It was me. I wanted to be said that you didn't want
Uh,
to talk about episode 4. And that was, I,
we could.
you know what though? I just want to say one thing. And that thing is don't let, we can't let it be said. We can't let anyone say this about us, I should say, that we don't own up to our mistakes. In fact, I welcome being wrong on this show like 70 to 80% of the time. Because whenever I say something definitive about what they're going to do in the next episode or next arc, they do it. And I'm always happy. When we talked about X-Men 97, we said they're doing Genosha, but they're not going to bomb Genosha. And what do you know?
They
They bombed the fuck out of Genosha. And in our last episode
they
of the show, this last episode of you and I talking, we said, or I should say, I said, they're not gonna have um they're not gonna have Frank Castle show up. John Bernthal's not gonna show up. I don't think he's gonna show up in this show. And literally the thumbnail of the following episode was of him in the episode thumbnail on Disney Plus. And I'm like, I'm wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong again. I love it. I'm always just expecting the least, you know?
yeah, yeah. I was when you said that, it didn't click to me until like well after that you said that.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, I was like, hold on, wait. Does he really think John Bernthal won't be in the series when they showed John Bernthal like recording episodes
I
way back? Like,
that's
no,
true.
he
That's
doesn't
true.
know.
But those scenes were him suited up, right? So I Well, I thought maybe they filmed like I was expecting him to show up as like a post credit. You know what I mean? Like as show up at the last credits of the last episode of him just being like, "Let me tell you something." He's always saying that. um, I was wrong.
It was a pretty good episode with him though. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that little. I hope it's not the only time we see him.
Yeah, me either.
'Cause he did make a good point in that.
Oh, well, I
Which was
love.
uh
Go ahead. I'm
which
sorry.
was like you're looking to ask me for permission
Oh yeah,
to be yourself again.
yeah. That was cool. I've we talked about it last time. Wait, did we talk about it on the episode that we don't have? So am I referencing stuff that no one's seen? Last episode that you and I
Yeah,
did.
you're referencing stuff no one has seen.
Love it. Love it.
You're referencing stuff no one has seen, so
So cool. You know what? Then I owned up to nothing. I actually have never been wrong. Um, you guys don't remember the X-Men 97 thing, and you don't know about this other instance, so I've never been wrong. Let it be said. Uh, no, but what I did say, and I've said it previously to anyone that has ears that work, is that my favorite scenes from the original show, the original Daredevil show, were when Matt and Frank, Daredevil and Punisher, respectively, were stuck just talking to each other. And I actually remembered that I believe there are two separate scenes in season two, kind of like almost like long back and forths between the two characters where they just kind of like debate morals. And I think that's so cool.
yeah.
So they did it a little bit in this episode, and I was
Yeah,
here for it.
they did. They kind of like jump right into it. Again, I'm glad with this being new new-ish series that they again recognize like the past before with them knowing each other. Because it just immediately went right back into like their relationship with each other,
Yeah.
and it was a good, even though it wasn't that long, it was a good moment. It was pretty dope, and still has me wondering like why Frank is back because we didn't really get like a clear answer why he was back.
He's just like going
Um,
through it.
but
You know what I mean?
yeah, going through it suffering, but he also kind of like showed that point with Matt, where it was you're looking to ask me for permission, but in like the background of it is, hey man, you're gonna end up like me if you don't get your shit taken care of.
Yeah.
You're gonna end up just like me,
Yeah.
which is just insane and insane to think about. One, the other thing that was kind of crazy was how fast he found him. Thank God I didn't try to make it like a long ass thing out there finding them because he found them hella fast.
Yeah, I like to think that he just always knows where he is if he's in the city. Because why wouldn't he, right?
Yeah.
He always knows where
I
those.
mean, he has those senses.
Yeah. Watch, they're chasing each other. I had to make sure everything was okay. Um, I am loving, and so obviously, like we had said, full disclosure, I haven't seen the most recent episode post. Can we actually let's talk about this? Why did they drop two episodes at once?
Why? So I don't know the official reason why, but from what I was thinking, after watching episode four, your original theory about them possibly doing arcs made sense
Right.
even more. Because cause it felt like they're trying to do like small completions of like bits of story.
Okay.
So it felt like an arc. And then five and six, especially watching both of them, five was just that ice thing.
Yeah. Really
Pretty
cool.
good.
Really cool episode.
But what happened in six goes further. And it really feels like that art thing, but it felt more like, okay, watching both of them, I see why you didn't want to just drop five.
Okay.
Because watching five and six made more sense than just seeing five.
right, because
You know, well, you don't know. You still
five
have to
is just
watch
like a
it, right?
bottle episode, and I loved that. I thought that was so cool. I couldn't get enough of it, and um
Ah, no, go on.
oh I was just saying, no, I just think it was really cool. Um, I I don't, without having seen episode 6, my big comment that I just find so fascinating and I'm really enjoying is the notion that it's a Matt story, right? It's not a Daredevil story.
Yeah,
And there's these hints
right.
of, obviously he suited up, and this is something that I find interesting about this being kind of a continuation of the original show, is that the original show, you could read it as a trilogy, right? Because there's 3 seasons. And something that was hard for me for the third season, this is something that I always find hard with trilogy, especially like superhero trilogies, is that the third one is usually the one where they like lose their powers, they lose the suit, they lose something, and they have to go back to basics, and they have to go back to kind of like where they were at the beginning of the show or the movie or whatever, or at the of the series. And that was what they had done with season 3, where he doesn't have a suit anymore. He's wearing the black Under Armour again, right?
Oh,
Which is cool.
terrible.
But I just think
Yeah.
that that became so indelibly tied to the character that he wears that suit longer than he wears the actual like armored Daredevil suit. That like I think you associate Daredevil now with like black beanie and Under Armour.
Yeah, I really hated that.
Yeah. So that I didn't love that because I whatever. It was still a good season, and they tied up a lot of things that they were kind of pitching, and it has really good it's a really good kind of like final ending, or at least ending to the story between him and Fisk. So it's good, but I'm liking this season. I think this season does the back to basics thing better than season 3 does, and I think that's my issue with trilogies. I think when you get to tell stories of 4, you get to do it a little bit better than when it's an actual trilogy. Because I think you can play
Yes.
around with the themes
I
more.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think one of the issues with the story of 3 is that trope of going back to basics.
Yeah.
We got it with Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
When it was Iron Man 3, where he was mainly him, not Iron Man. He was mainly Tony. But it happens. It's like just a trope that happens so much that it is kind of dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of dumb to an extent to where it feels less like I'm going to tell this story and more like I have to put this in this third part.
Yeah. It
Like it's a automatic necessity.
it feels like they want to like sometimes it almost feels like they want to tell stories from season 1 again, and it's kind of like, oh god, we did so much in this last season. let's just we're just going to rewind things back. What I really like about Born Again is that there is this notion. I think they have a good like initiating concept, which is that he had a bad time in the first episode, which kind of takes place before the story actually begins, and now he's really holding back. And something that I mentioned on watching even just episode 5 last night was the physical fights, which he hasn't had very many of. He's only fought like a handful of times in the show so far. He hasn't suited up once, except at the beginning, and
Yeah.
it's mostly him, and I love that. But I also think that like I know they had mentioned the showrunners mentioned that the violence or like the physical nature of the show is going to be more brutal, and I agree. I do think that with those fights that we've seen, they've been a lot more violent. And I don't think that's just for the sake of, bigger, badder, better. I like to read that as I like to read that as him having the overarching theme of him kind of like trying to rein in his darker half, right? Not wanting to betray his like darker nature by, being Daredevil. I think that it keeps bleeding out in these times where he does has to fight. And that's it's this concept of like, does he genuinely like beating people up? Or does he think he's better than that? And I think the real question is that he does like it, right? And that's kind of what Fisk was telling him in the diner. You know what I mean? And that's what other people, even Frank was telling him that like he likes hurting people. And that's a hard thing to kind of circle when you are a square. And so these fights that he gets into are like, it's almost like he's taking them too far. And I think that it's cool because it feels like he's doing that because he can't control himself. And he's bridling himself in so much. And then when he gets into these minor squabbles with guys that are not on his level at all, because the two like big fights that I can think of this season have been with just like, those two crooked cops, and then in this one, this bank robber, and he just beats the shit out of them and does something that is kind of like, oh, why'd you do that? You have to break his leg at the
To
shit.
be crippled for life.
He keeps doing, and like, I just think that's really cool, but I do also think that I can read it as a story reason.
Okay, that's interesting.
Without
Uh,
seeing episode
it,
6, if once again, I could be speaking way out of turn.
well, not too much, not really. But the other thing is like, where you said story reason, because I think that is also the big part where I get the lack of action with some of these things because if you watch certain shows like Warrior, for instance, you have a lot of action, you have a lot of fighting.
Mm,
It's a martial arts show.
right.
Into the Badlands, you get these action sequences that are mainly a part of the show, a part of the storytelling. Like that's part of the vehicle for the show is the fight scenes, is the fighting.
Yeah.
For for something like this, yeah, they have some good fight scenes. And he is brutal as fuck, as you said,
Mhm.
in them, but it's not, the fights are not a vehicle for the show. They're just an aspect,
Yeah.
of the show. So it's not something that's going to be consistently, like, even though we may want it, it's not going to be something that's going to be consistently there because it first and foremost, Matt is a um, lawyer, and you have to balance that. Most of the storytelling comes from that aspect of his heroism,
Mhm.
not beating the shit out of people, but his morality, his wanting to defend people, and how he goes about it in those situations over just, oh, I'm a cripple you for life because you're ruined my day.
Yeah. Um, what was really cool, something that I've always loved about Daredevil as a character, just in all forms of media, is this notion, and it's similar to Spider-Man. It's similar to a lot of characters that kind of like align themselves more on like a true good and have like a high moral ground. So, characters like Superman, Spider-Man, and Daredevil as well too, is that I love this concept that like these characters in particular are really good at doing something that could be used for bad so well, and they choose not to because they have like, they're pure of heart or whatever. And like in the recent episode that I saw, the bank episode, him being able to unlock a safe with ease is just so hilarious to me because I'm like, yeah, what use does he have for robbing a bank? He's a like, devout Catholic lawyer. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just so funny. And then something similar that like we didn't really get to see. I don't think we saw a few aspects of it. Not really. I guess I was commenting on it while watching. But like, there are stories in the comics where like Matt uses guns. There's a story beat in some recent Daredevil comics where he fights the Punisher and he shoots him, and he's like he has this whole monologue about how like, you know, if I used guns, it would just really wouldn't be fair because like he doesn't have to aim to hit you. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't even have to be looking in your direction to hit you with a bullet. Like he can do that with a baton. Imagine what he could do with a firearm. And it's like, yeah, but like he's not killing
Exactly.
people. He would be a better Punisher than Punisher. And similar to Spider-Man, where it's like, yeah, if he just actually didn't hold his punches, he would just like punch through these people constantly. Same thing with Superman. He has to constantly hold back. And it's not this like, oh God, I wish I could just let loose. It's no, I don't let loose because I'm a strong-willed person and I'm pure of heart. But once I have the opportunity to, it's a different story. Or if the cause is just, right? I just love that.
It is. It's very. That makes a good point. It makes good sense, and it is kind of funny to see that those few and far between heroes where they do hold back like that.
Yeah.
Um, People have called, including me, but for different reasons, called Superman a bitch. But it's like the reason why, if this was a real person, him being a bitch is the reason why you're alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Is why you survive encounters with him, and same thing with like Spider-Man and Daredevil, which is just funny. But one of the things I personally was like, I wonder if I'm going to hear about this, which I still haven't heard about it.
Is this your thing that you texted me
Was
about?
no,
Oh,
not yet,
okay.
not yet.
Okay.
That's
I
I
can't.
do want to get into that. I got to break. It's important to me.
Okay.
But the other part was Miss Marvel
Oh, yeah.
was mentioned
Yeah.
heavily,
Yeah, I love that.
heavily in this episode, and it played out. So we've always talked about like having natural means between people,
Right.
um, where it doesn't seem out of place, whatever. And that was one of those natural. Is it like 2-1, 2-1? Goddamn.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Take 43. Take
Yep.
43. You
Take
know
for a
what?
minute.
For this one, I want you to walk in on the left. Maybe that's the issue.
Let's let's give it a try. It's me coming in from the left, right there. At least mine. But wherever we were at with the soft introduction, I like the soft introduction. I don't see Miss Marvel really making a appearance in this series. Maybe a cameo, but I really don't see this type of scheme for Miss Marvel, which is
You know
fine.
what?
That's fine.
Anything that I say I don't think is going to happen happens. So let's see. Um, let's see. I don't see Foggy getting brought back from the dead as a Deathlock cyborg. Um, and I also don't see Matt having a threesome with Frank Castle and Karen Page. I also don't see um, Matt showing up in the red three-piece suit. And I don't know. I don't know what else.
That's good. That's good.
Those, yeah, since I said that's not gonna happen, just wait.
It's funny because I was talking to somebody at work the other day about the show, and they're like, "You think Foggy's gonna come back?" Because they had like a thing, like what if Foggy did come back? And I was like, if Foggy comes back, then everything that happened in the series was for no.
Yeah,
Then
maybe
everything that Matt went through won't matter anymore. It'd be like, oh, that was wasteless.
he's gonna get resurrected by the hand, just like Elektra.
Well, I also have a theory. I have a theory about that too. Would it be so? The comics run of Daredevil Shadow,
Oh yeah.
not super popular.
I know I liked it though. I had so much fun with that comic run, but that I'm a sucker for
It's a
medicine.
here and there. It's a here and there. But it is also if you again, we know that they're making Matt be eh, in the Netflix series. He was the base for them branching out and starting the Defenders, so everybody else getting their shit. With this one, there's been talks about that, like possibly trying to bring some of the Defenders back or go with a different series. A good way where you could do that because a lot of these street level characters takes place are like in Shadowland. Um, yeah,
That's
you
right.
could use that could end up being the thing. They keep mentioning Hell's Kitchen for some reason, even though it's part of the past, and
Yeah.
it's in returning to Hell's Kitchen. Also, um, it came out like 14 years ago, some shit like that, around 2010, right? That's when it was happening.
The comic book run, yeah, I
Yeah.
think it did come out in around
Yeah.
2010. 14
Oh,
years, 15 years ago? Are you trying to make me wither the nation?
15? Yes. But in there also, you could get more Luke Cage,
You know what?
Frank, and you could substitute Jessica. It's a
No,
thing.
you can't.
I think it's a possibility, which
Would
again, it could be
why would
very
they?
wrong.
They don't want Jessica Jones in. You don't want Kristen Ritter's Jessica Jones.
No, no, I love her as Jessica Jones. I said you could substitute her in for Iron Fist. It's not like this.
Oh, for Iron Fist, yeah, 100%. I just think it's hard to do. You can't like. There's a reason why the most popular version of Iron Fist right now is not Danny Rand, and that's Marvel Rivals, right? There's a reason why they don't have him in that mantle. And I just think that it's a hard thing to circle. Like it's a hard beat to press. Like it just really is. It's
Yes.
tough.
Yeah, but that could be it could be a thing about, the next situation. Uh
I always
if
want more Moon Knight.
they
Give me more Moon Knight. I need more
started
Moon
watching
Knight.
the series again.
It's
So
so
good.
good.
Yeah, like why would you not want Oscar Isaac back doing that? It was such a good series. God, it was so good.
I'll never. I mean, I whatever.
But
He's got to appear in something at some point.
it needs to. But on to the mystery, the sixth episode that you haven't seen. My
Give me something.
my other theory besides Shadowland being the end point before they come back making that something else. It is so when I texted Joe, it's a fucking it's a fucking no, I didn't say it, it's a metaphor, but it's a fucking metaphor.
Okay.
Was when we were talking about what's it the whole mask mandate feels a little bit Civil War-ish. Like it could have been a terrible, not a mass mandate, but him, Wilson going against
Vigilantes.
vigilantes and like being against the mask, and dealing with that. It feels like,
Sorry. Pause.
yeah,
You calling it mask mandate? All I thought about was COVID, but I love that that's what you call it because I mean, it is, right? It's a real, it's the opposite of a mask mandate, but it's such a funny name, and I can't believe no one's ever drawn like a comparison to like regular people having to wear masks and like superheroes not being allowed to. Okay, go on. Sorry.
uh, but that is interesting. But it feels like the reason I said because we said like that would be if they go too much into it, it's going to be a rehashing of something that's already happened. It's going to be a rehashing of the Sokovia Accords. It's going to be
Yeah.
misplaced. It's going to be weird, a little odd. Um, but watching the sixth episode, what made me come to the conclusion that it's a metaphor, uh, is for one, it's a metaphor for both Wilson and well, let me even say it wrong. Wilson and Daredevil with them having to fight to choose who they really are, to be their real selves, because Wilson is not being the true self while he's trying to be the mayor. And Matt is trying to hold off on being himself because of like what happened with Foggy. So essentially they're masking who they really are right now.
Yeah.
And that's all that mandate and wanting to go against it really is a realization of him having to realize you have to be your real self. And that happens in episode, I'm going to say issue 6. That happens in episode 6, where there's a moment for both Matt and Twist where they turn back into their old selves, to who they really are. They stop hiding underneath that facade. You had it happen in episode
Episode
4
4 at the
with
end.
Matt, yeah, with Matt talking to him and like realizing he had to do that and he still kind of held off. Even in 5, you saw a bit of him returning to that,
Yeah.
but he
We
does
put
it
on
even
that like
more
red
so.
mask too, right? Like he put on as soon as I saw he got away, like he was getting like he got to have some alone time with the one Robert with the red mask. I'm like, he's gonna wear that at some point. Of course.
Yep. So that's where I was like, oh shit, that whole thing is just a metaphor for them not wanting to be themselves. That thing is that was trying to be put out is not a real situation worldwide. It's just them talking about themselves. That's the way that I don't know if I can't say they did it on purpose, but I don't know how much on purpose they did it.
Right.
To
Okay.
say going forward, if it's going to be, if it's going to be like, that's the breakdown of it and we don't get let's get these vigilantes who now wearing masks and go straight back to the Civil War type of shit. But it also lends to my thought about Shadowland is because something happens in season 6, which everybody, I mean, episode 6. God damn, I can't just say episode 6 anymore.
It's there's too much media.
There's, but there's a thing happens where they get, which has been my beef is there's only so much you could do because, you have the Thunderbolts that exist. Thunderbolts is a group of villains, quote unquote,
Yeah.
in a group together, which is pretty much like Suicide Squad as well. You in Marvel, they're not going to try to do that twice because it would make next to no sense and it will sabotage one or
Right. I see
the
what you're saying.
other. So even with like, there's an instance of like a task force being brought together, it's not the same. It doesn't look the same, but you can't further it. If you want to come to something that's kind of close and also extend a story, you take Matt to a place where we haven't seen him, is him going through all these emotions, and then he ends up, you bring Electric back at the end, and you give him this thing of becoming the leader of that.
Yeah. I'd love the Hand to come back, period, and not be just like one guy and an old lady. I really need the Hand to be back in like a bigger way. That was my biggest gripe with like the way it was handled in the original show and the Defender show was that the Hand was just like five guys and that was it.
But yeah, I'm gonna need I'm gonna need the Han clan to fight the Foot clan. I mean, Foot
The
soldiers
foot.
for, yeah, some Ninja Turtles.
Well, I love that. Like, I love that the Foot Clan is more popular than the Hand, even though the Foot is just a parody of the Hand. Like, more people, I think, know the Ninja Turtle bad guys than the Hand. I just think that's funny. Just like more people know
Uh,
Splinter than they know Stick, and that's hilarious. Also,
right? It's and then a lot of people don't, know Usagi Yojimbo, but they know that there's sometimes a white rabbit in Ninja Turtle.
yeah. References sometimes are more popular than the thing that they're referencing. I love
Yeah. But yeah, it could be very, very interesting going forward. But yeah, you had and the latest episode in 6, you had, return to normal for both of them. You also got to see more of Muse.
that. Yeah, he's on the
It's,
thumbnail. I know that.
it's interesting because Muse still hasn't talked yet. And they took a great approach to expose to show just how brutal Muse is with his killings. Because they kind of show like some of the dead bodies, which is it's interesting that they want to go that route. but it also now it feels more so like it's come to a head where Mule has an issue for Daredevil, and Muse has an issue for Fist. They, it feels like they're leaning back to make Wilson fully embrace being king, which is needed because they haven't had that in a minute. Um,
Right.
Also, there was some good cameos from Hawkeye that was in there as well in episode 6.
Hi.
Shit you know, man. Shit you
Right.
not. And it seems like they're going about because there was another vigilante that popped up that they said it seems they're going about maybe trying to broaden that world and incorporate everything in a clean way. And it really seems like they're trying to make those decisions to not be messy about it, but again, to do what needs to be done when you introduce it on your broadening that world, which is just these people exist here. Okay, cool. We could show them or we can make mention of them. We don't have to, we don't have to bring somebody all the way for no reason just to have them pop up. We don't need to have Matt have a fight and then all of a sudden Doctor Strange is somehow involved with this fight. And it
But
makes
you
no
know
sense.
how,
For
yeah, no Doctor Strange, but Wong.
Wong is never going to get that amulet.
Wong is gonna show up in this show. Just mark my words. The fact that I keep saying he will just means he won't. Sorry, Wong won't be in this show.
We got three more episodes, yeah. 7, 8, and 9. So,
Wong won't be in it. No
well,
Wong.
we'll see what ends up happening. But as of now, I just say I'm consistently pleased with the show.
Yeah.
With
Have you
some
turned
of
around on
the,
it? What do you think? Like, what I think at first you had more hesitancy. Where do you think, let's say rating wise,
oh,
the first two episodes and compared to now?
yeah, because they had that fucking smoke and then they did they had those terrible camera shots and those first 2 episodes, like the zooming in and zooming out. Oh, I hated it so much. But they've stepped away from that. They stepped away from the technical issues that I had. Um, I would like to, I wish I could say it was because of me, but this was shot a year ago and if they would have listened to me from the beginning, they would have. So it wasn't because of me that they stopped doing that. So I'm glad that they got rid of that. The fight scenes are a lot clearer now.
Yeah.
It actually makes me want to look and see if any part of the team changed from those first 2 episodes to the other episodes.
Well, I know that the show is directed by different people, like from episode to episode. There's some consistency, but like there's been different directors.
Yeah.
But that doesn't have anything to do with the fights. It could be one stunt coordinator. It could be a different stunt team from from first to the other episodes. It could be different choreographers, right? So there could be
Yeah, yeah, because there's
some like,
because those are the shifting. But yeah, it's a lot better. I like the direction that they're going. I am more sold on it than I was in the beginning. I didn't hate it completely. There was obviously like um the things that I didn't like, even though I liked the show. But I would say, yeah, I think it's in a better for me personally, it's in a better place than it was in the beginning, and I'm actually could say that I'm happy with it. Unlike in the beginning, I couldn't say I was happy with it.
yeah. I think I agree.
Okay, that's good. That's good. That is the same for you.
I think the first 20 minutes of this show were so jarring that I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this MCU Disney plus Daredevil. And that's not to say that it was like kiddie or anything like that. It was just like it was so jarring that I'm just kind of like, oh man, I have no idea what this is going to be like. But then it's just been a really good show after that. So I would agree as well too.
Yeah. I guess. So with that, we'll see what happens with these last three episodes.
Yeah, like three
And
when they do that.
hopefully, we will see. Yes.
See Wong again. Daredevil. Wong again.
Um, Also, something that just came out today. I don't know if you saw this. So I just saw it right before we got on the very first time. Did you see that they dropped some of the casting for Avengers Doomsday?
You know I saw that.
Oh,
No, I saw that.
you saw. I wanted to get your opinion specifically because there were some people that was like, I don't like the way that you guys are announcing like these people separately.
James Marsden, Patrick Stewart, Rebecca Romaine, Kelsey.
But talk about the
Also,
X-Men.
yeah, the X-Men, the Fox X-Men characters, some of them being characters that have not shown up in an MCU property yet. Like for example, Rebecca Romaine and James Marsden. I think those were the big ones. Oh, and Alan Cumming, as Nightcrawler, right? Or at least that's what they're implying.
Yeah.
But those three, that was crazy. I just find that so fascinating. Um, I don't know how I feel about it. I find it weird that they are announcing it by the cast, right? They're announcing it as if they're like, we're supposed to just know that, like, oh wow, they're playing these characters. I mean, granted, right? Like, Patrick Stewart has appeared in an MCU property already as Professor X, and Kelsey Grammer has appeared as a character in an MCU property as well, both from alternate universes. So the question is it from one of those? Is it the one that appears at the end of the Marvels? Probably. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It's it's also going to be weird because you have Channing Tatum as Gambit.
Oh yeah, okay, that one just upset me.
It did.
I'm like,
It
that
bothered
one
me.
made me the most mad.
Good, good. Because it bothered me because it was funny in the Wolverine Deadpool movie, but I saw bad signs when I kept seeing people like, this is great. He should get his own movie. And it's like, no, no, he should not as Gambit. That was bad. It was supposed to be a joke.
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
Deadpool, like, we didn't have a moratorium on Deadpool and Wolverine on the show. And I think that it was great that he got to do it. The joke is that he got to do it. That's the joke. The joke is here's him getting to do this thing that he was just like Wesley Snipes' Blade showing up and saying, there's only going to be one Blade. Like, the point of that is the joke, not that you take it at face value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found it very strange that you didn't see Daphne Keene get mentioned. And I'm like, okay, so you mentioned Gambit, Channing Tatum's Gambit, but you don't mention the one character that technically I think survived, right? She was the one that technically got out, if I'm not mistaken. Was Gambit one of the two?
No, Gambit technically survived because they did a thing where they showed kind of made it out at the end.
He was one of the
And
two.
yeah,
I don't know. Whatever.
also bothering to me because it showed how up in the air the script may have been. Um,
Yeah.
Being because again, this just came out a year ago. I don't think I know however long it's been in production or the idea that they're gonna have Channing Tatum being Gambit was possibly a little bit longer than that year. But
Yeah.
the reception was the important part of it. Of
Yeah, like
people,
people liked him, so they had to have added. They could only add him in after the movie came out last summer.
yeah, July.
It's too late. You should already
Bro,
have characters in a movie that are important before that June of 2024. It's
that's
way too late in the game. And the script, like you said, is only so recent because it's a rewrite.
yeah.
Oh no. Oh
And
no.
and it's crazy because it's also like, you're doing it so late. You're adding them to the show only because of the fan reception of it well after the fact of the movie that people kept talking about it. So you couldn't predict, you weren't going to do it beforehand. So you had to wait and had to let this happen. And then all of a sudden somebody's like, this is a good idea. And for a movie of this magnitude as well, it's not like it's supposed to be just any old regular like Marvel movie. This is one of the ones that they put in their big bets on and they make it their huge collective type of movie. And again, him being mentioned, we knew that they wanted to have Fantastic Four and X-Men be a part of these next two big Avenger movies because they were trying to reintroduce them and give them a big part. This feels like fuck. One, come here. Yeah, okay. It feels like one, the characters who you chose, James Marsden, Rebecca Romijn, because obviously the other one didn't like it. Um, you're bringing them in for the first time. Alan Cumming, you bring them in for the first time because again, like you said, we've seen Kelsey Grammer, we've seen Xavier, Patrick Stewart. So you're bringing them in for the first time, and we've seen Channing. What is this going to be another purpose when you kill them off quickly,
Right.
or another like fan service moment? Or are you
Yeah,
gonna
that's
make
what
them
it
a
feels like.
part? Yeah, and are you gonna make them a part of the story? Because if you did wanting to bring in like the next generation, it is this is going to be a little odd because now you have to tell somewhat of a story to have the old guard and the new guard together.
Yeah. That's what I fear. The fact that they're being billed as like an announcement on this cast list just feels like, are they part of the story or are they not? And if they're not, why announce it? And if they are, it just doesn't seem fitting. And this is supposed to be about Doom. And it's like, what do the X-Men have to do with Doom to begin with? Very little. There's one character in particular that has a little bit more to do with Doom. There's a few characters, and none of them are being remotely announced or like related to. If they're trying to do like a children's crusade thing and have it be attached to, that aspect of it, Wanda's not involved. She's not announced. Elizabeth Olsen's not announced to return. If that has, yeah, there's things like that where I'm like, okay, with Storm, has ties to Doom. Nothing about Storm. It's not like Holly Berry's getting that, right? Which yeah, it's strange.
It is strange. It's strange and it's worrisome. Also, I think the way that they had like placed out the announcements, at least from what I've seen, could have been very different because I saw it kind of secondhand. When they were announcing people, they specifically like the whole entire
So strange.
yeah, but the whole entire Fantastic Four was like announced separately.
Right.
It wasn't like them one after the other. It was like, oh, you have Vanessa Kirby, somebody else. Then you have even more. So might have been intentional, like just to cause something, get people to talk about it. Obviously, just well, when does it? So when it comes up next year.
Next year.
So it's supposed to
Seems
be
soon.
released in May of next year.
Yeah.
But that means they got to start. If they haven't, they got to start. No, I think they started shooting for it already.
I have no idea.
Neither do I. But all I don't want to see rough
No. Rust
visual effects.
Avengers movies?
I don't want to see rush of industry, but I also don't want to see rush visual effects. Please
Yeah.
do something where it doesn't look all shoddy. I mean, even announcing Loki coming back as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot Tom Hiddleston, huh?
Tom Henderson.
Yeah.
But is it now with all of this shit going on? Is it the story, King of Stories, or is it something else?
Well, see, they're all Doom, actually. That's the real surprise. They're all playing Doom because they couldn't do Kang. Now they're all Doom.
Yeah, that's gotta be. That's I'm always for
And with
Doomsday. Doomsday.
with that, I feel the Doom. Feel the Doom.
With it,
Do you feel doomed?
uh, I every day,
And you
existential doom.
should. No, but
Shit.
I'll leave you with that. Something
Yeah,
to worry about in the future.
it's problematic. Well, shit shit is what shit is. Let's see if maybe next time we can get into that. Or talk
Next
about
time we will.
something one of these days. Well, it's gonna be the next Fantastic Four thing.
Okay.
All right, then, man.
Well, thank you.